Welcome back. How many of you feel insecure when you need to join a video meeting or even a video call? Stay tuned and I'll show you how to overcome your fears and present your best side. In this video, we used Zoom, but the same principles apply if you're using Google Meet, Skype, FaceTime, and much more. If you've had any experience with Zoom meetings, it may have felt something like this. Interesting. Let me zero this in. That was actually a lot of fun. Liz arranged this special Zoom meeting she called Zoom Boo-Boos, inviting friends to join and play a role. We had a blast. I'll cover the following key points. There's a chapter guide below in the description so you can jump to a specific point if needed. But if you haven't watched this all the way through at least once, I recommend you watch it all. It's a short video, so stay with us. The points we'll talk about are: first, what lighting is best? What device you should use? Setting the background? Finding your best angle? Monitoring the audio? And practice. And one more thing. We have one bonus tip that's very important, but you have to wait until the end to catch that. Lighting. If I had the option to change one thing for a video meeting, it would be the lighting. That is the most important factor in how you look in video. And it's the easiest thing to fix in most cases. If you have the need to be on a video chat or meeting frequently, it may be worth it to buy a video light. I mean, this is the setup I have. You don't need that. But one of the best lighting options you may have is a large window that gives a flattering light. Now, of course, that's during the daytime. But one key point is avoid sitting with your back to a window. Try facing a window for soft, natural light. Don't face it directly, but if you have a big window and just place it over to the side, kind of like I have the light here at the side of me to emulate what a window light might give you, that's fantastic lighting. But in some cases, you won't have light. I realize that. You may have to rely on some lighting in your house or your office, wherever you are. A desk lamp with a bright bulb can do quite a bit, but the larger the light is, the softer it will be on you. Remember though, you want the light to shine fairly evenly on your face, not from above or below. If it's up above, it's going to create shadows from your nose. Ideally, the light should be just off to the left side or the right, and that's why I actually have this light over here on this side. I have another light over here that's just coming at this angle. How's that? If you'll notice, I've got the light coming from this angle. So this side of my face is brighter, and you'll create shadows if you put things in front of it. But this side, there's just an area that's kind of a triangular shape where the light crosses the bridge of my nose. It's called Rembrandt lighting because Rembrandt was known for a light style on his portrait. The light one side of the face spilled over to create a little triangle of light on the other side of the nose. To show you a little bit more of what the light does, let's go outside for a bit. We're in southern Arizona, completely clear day, the sun is shining, it's about 10 a.m. And as you can see, just looking at my faces, there are some very strong shadows. It's not flattering. It's not good light to use for a video. For a video, you want a large light source that's close to you. Now, it may seem, obviously, the sun is a large light source, but because of the distance, it's actually a very small light source as we see it. And what happens is you get these harsh shadows. You get the nose shadow down here, you get shadows from the glasses. Everything has a shadow. In this case, I could turn my back to light, but that makes my face dark. Generally, you don't want to have the light in back of you. But this actually worked well. We have a combination of outside light, getting a little bit different color temperature, a little lighter, bluer on this side of my face, with this side a little warm. Still, it would work as long as we have enough light coming in. And if you see behind me, we've got quite a bit of light. These types of windows, in some cases, can look good, but typically you get close to that, you're going to see a lot of the shades of the lattices. But now, I'm in a fairly dark room. One thing you will notice when you start getting in a dark room, and especially on Zoom or other video platforms, these platforms are not made for high-resolution video. So even though on my phone it tries to adjust, but it's giving me a message even here that more light is required, which is true. Because what happens when it doesn't have enough light is it starts losing detail. The dark areas over here start to get a little bit blurry, not as sharp as the more lighted areas on my face. A dark room is not a good setting for being on Zoom or a video meeting. What device to use? Okay, we're back inside. To fully participate in any Zoom or other video meeting, you need a device that has a camera and a microphone. I say to fully participate because you do have the ability to join a Zoom meeting without a camera. The purpose of a video meeting is to essentially make eye contact. When you look at the camera, essentially giving eye contact to the other participants, they feel like you're talking to them. Whether the meeting is for work or fun, you'll make a better impression if they can see your face. Perhaps the best option is a laptop computer like I have here, because they typically have both a camera and a microphone built in. Now, if you have a desktop computer, you can get a web camera that sits often on top of one of the monitors and a separate microphone. That'll work also, but it may require some other setup. But also the larger screen of a desktop or laptop computer allows you to have many different perspectives for seeing the other participants as well as any information that they share. For example, I recently participated in a large Zoom meeting with many participants and with a guest speaker that had a handout. She was sharing on the screen the handout, and she was on another side along with the other participants. Since I was using my laptops, I had a large enough display that I could see all of this information. After that, a tablet, such as an iPad or a smartphone, can be used, and tablets may do a decent job depending on the screen size, but smartphones should be the last choice. They will also work in a pinch. With a smartphone, you can be seen and can see the current speaker, but you won't be able to see the grid of all of the people. And you often won't be able to see any documents or screen sharing that the host of the meeting is presenting. Another challenge using a handheld devices is to keep it still. The other participants don't want to see something like this. So if you have to resort to using a handheld device, avoid holding it by hand. Because even without thinking, your hand will be wandering around. It's very distracting. A tripod or stand for your device is very helpful. For my iPhone, I use this Insta360 gimbal. It's a great device. It acts as a tripod, a gimbal, and a tracker. Yeah, the tracker means that if you're moving around the room, it can actually follow you as you move. Not always the best idea, but it does work for that. That brings up the next issue, your background. When you're recording yourself, what do people see behind you? A cluttered background can be distracting and may not share the image you want to show of yourself. If you can use a clean, neutral wall, Zoom even lets you use some virtual backgrounds, which can be fun. Frankly, if you have a busy wall behind you. This isn't bad. I mean, it's a plain wall with some pictures on it. If you put on one of the virtual backgrounds, even some of this sometimes will interfere. It's best to use a green screen or just a plain colored background if you plan to use a virtual background. Avoid anything too busy or too silly for the background, as it can take the focus away from you. It typically won't fit the seriousness of a business meeting. That background will often show through any blurring or fake background that you have. Finding your best angle. Make a note of where the camera is on your device. Most laptop webcams, the camera is positioned above the screen. When you're looking at the image of yourself on Zoom, if you're not sure where it is, just move your finger around the edge, and when it gets to that point, all of a sudden it'll remove you from the picture and now just show the background. If possible, have the camera at eye level. This can create a more flattering angle. If needed, you'll have to prop your laptop up on books or a stand so the camera's at eye level. I'm not at eye level here. And you'll notice, especially if I bring it down, I'm having to look down at the screen. If instead I have the camera at eye level, you can't see me there, but it is much more flattering. If you're looking at eye level, it'll make you look more confident and engaging. Remember, good posture is always a plus. Sit up straight and avoid slouching. When possible, look directly at the camera rather than at the screen, especially when you want to make an impact. If it's a business or other serious meeting, the other participants want to feel that you are focused on them. I know it feels unnatural to be looking at the camera lens when the important stuff is down here. So right now, I'm looking at the laptop monitor where I'll see the other people, but it's obvious that I'm not looking at the other people or at the camera. Instead, if I look up here, it looks like I'm looking at the viewer directly in the eyes, and it will be more pleasing to look at. It really does make a difference. You know, during the aftermath of COVID, I had a new doctor that I would meet through telemedicine calls. He must have had a web camera that was way up on top of a big monitor. I assumed that he was very nearsighted as well, because for the first 3 appointments I had with him, I never saw his face. I'm serious. I would see his forehead and his hairline because he was staring at either the test results on the screen or the image of me that on my screen. So it looked literally like, see if I can get it, kind of like that. So I was looking at his hairline. It was on the 3rd visit that I asked him to please look up at the camera now and then. It helps if you can back up from the camera a bit. For example, if when I'm up close, it's obvious when I'm looking down at the screen, but the more I move back from it, it's not as clear. Well, I'm not as clear, but these aren't fantastic cameras. Don't expect the best out of them. It looks more like I'm looking at the camera when I'm further back from the screen. Don't be way back though, that won't help you. Where you're looking is more obvious if you're near the camera. Next point, I think it's number 3, monitor your audio. There's nothing more frustrating in a Zoom meeting than everyone having their mics on and you get a lot of audio distractions. Phones ringing, dogs barking, and who knows what else may come through. Almost as bad is when you have someone who starts talking without turning on the mic. If you don't need to talk for a bit, it's often wise to turn it off so you aren't annoying to everyone else. But turn it back on when you need to speak. Be ready and know where that button is. That leads to the penultimate item, practice, practice, practice. Don't need to be in an important Zoom meeting to learn how to use it. That's the worst time to be learning how to use the computer and how to use the controls for Zoom or any type of video meeting. Zoom, you don't have to purchase a license to Zoom to try it out. Yeah, if you're going to run some serious Zoom meetings, you will, but I think they give you about 30 minutes, maybe 45. But it lets you go through all of the controls down here at the bottom, so you can look at how you look at the participants, how you open up a chat window, how you share your screen, how you record a meeting, how you share your reactions, whiteboards, notes. There's a lot there, in addition to, of course, the features of being able to change your background or even play with some animal figures or whatever. Play with it. Just get familiar with where the controls are so you can use them. I'm doing that now. I'm in a practice meeting, and so I can try changing different things about the meeting and see how it looks. Much better to do it in a practice meeting like that than when you're live and fiddling around trying to figure out where everything is. So what was the most important factor I said in looking good on a video meeting? It was the first point, lighting. Then we talked about what device to use for a meeting, controlling the background, and finally practice. But there's one more. Be fresh and upbeat. Let me tell you why I added this last point. In my family, we have a wonderful dog, Marley, who's part of the family. He's a 12-year-old medium-sized Labradoodle. He's been our companion throughout these years, but he has a large tumor that needs to be surgically removed. He goes in for surgery on March 22nd, about a week from when I'm recording this. As anyone who has had a pet that is a family member knows, that's very stressful. And because of that stress, I've fallen behind on my editing as a result. You know, both Liz and I record videos, but I do all of the editing. So we have several videos we need to wrap up. Everything you see of my narration, though, was initially recorded 2 days ago. But as I started editing the video, it was obvious my heart wasn't in it. My sadness was obvious. So I stopped editing. I spent some time relaxing with Marley on the living room couch, just cuddling until I felt I could put more of myself into this video. It's still weighing on, it's always there in the background. Now in Zoom, you typically can't do a retake, and it feels like any stressors are still with you when you're in a video meeting, because you're typically not there physically in the meeting. You're in your home, but your mood shows in videos. For me, I was initially planning to re-record this today, but my heart wasn't in it. So when I started editing, I could see that it just didn't look right. So after Marley and I cuddled and got a nice little nap on the couch, I felt refreshed. He felt comforted. He's actually still right beside me. He's always just a couple of feet away. He's on a little bed here at the side. If you aren't able to take some time to rest or meditate before your Zoom meeting, at least you can focus on what you're doing in the Zoom and try to put on a happy face.
Come on, girl, now let's put on a happy face.
Sometimes just a few minutes to give yourself a pep talk before will do wonders.
I'm going to do a terrific show today, and I'm going to help people because I'm good enough, I'm smart enough, and doggone it, people like me.
And when you have the Zoom meeting, focus on the other participants in the meeting. Imagine yourself in the same room with them. When you're face-to-face with somebody, you tend to be able to put on that happy face more easily. It's hard sometimes just staring into a camera. You'll see it after I edit it. But now you can do something for us. Hit that subscribe button. We appreciate you, we really do. And subscribing is the best thing that you can do to help us grow. Thank you.